in Fayetteville was dealing with when Florence moved through the area yesterday. People were kayaking in those rushing floodwaters.
Another city in that region, Spring Lake, also hit hard by Florence, and that is where we find NBC's Gotti Schwartz live for us tonight. And Gotti, tell us what you're seeing out there.
Well, it's a pretty heart-wrenching scene. We're actually seeing a hotel behind us that looks like it's about to be swept away by these floodwaters. It's going to get swept away into the Little River up here just north of Fayetteville. This is an area where maybe 2-3 hours ago we were actually parked here. It was dry grounds. Over here is the Little River, and that Little River was swollen, and it was at flood stages that it had seen during Hurricane Matthew. Just to give you some perspective, the Little River was about 9 feet before Florence came through. Then it crested about 32 feet yesterday, went even higher today. It's now at about 35 feet. So that's about 3 feet higher than it was during Matthew. And to give you kind of a sense of the comparison of damage between Matthew and this, some of what you're seeing over here was not touched during Matthew. Some of it was. This church over here, I saw a tiny bit of flooding during Matthew. They had some damage during Matthew, but now you can see that flooding is almost up to the rooftop of that second building, and these floodwaters are extremely powerful. We saw that over there and those bushes that was floating around just a few minutes ago. That's a propane tank. We've also seen these massive islands of fire ants that are coming through here, an extremely dangerous situation. This is one of the areas where 2,800 people near Fayetteville were evacuated. And it was tough for a lot of those people. It was tough for us. We thought, you know, the sun was coming out and there was no way that the river could rise to the levels that it is. You hear a few feet and it doesn't really sink in that means that as far as you can see is going to be filled with water. And that's what we've seen here happen. A lot of people that didn't heed those evacuation warnings, we've seen them taken out by boats and taken out by heavy equipment brought in by Fort Bragg and by the soldiers there. So a lot of rescuers going out right now to check on people, make sure that everyone has evacuated. But this is a disaster that's just in slow motion, guys.
One question, Gotti. Do you know, is the water there done rising, or is it possible that those floodwaters could go even higher?
We were told that it was supposed to be done rising right around 3 o'clock, and we have seen the water levels come up slightly. This is not scientific. We're not standing next to the gauge. In fact, the gauge has been completely overtaken by water, so we can't really mark it. But what we can mark is where it is on the road, and we have seen the water levels come up since then. And so it appears as though the water is still continuing to rise, and we just at this point don't know when it will